Alright, hello and welcome. I am Emmi Labyrinth, and today we're looking for the perfect vampire date. I'm actually really excited for this. Alright, I gotta first set up the chat. I'm always terrible at this. I always forget. But then again, chat. Actually, I feel like it does. I'll just have this one. Hopefully. Hopefully it works. Alright, let's get into it. So, I'm going to be talking about the perfect vampire date. I'm very excited. So, I want to go over the rules first, kind of for myself. And here are the quote-unquote rules. We're going to go based on the characters' personalities, the likelihood of being turned into a vampire. Very important to me. If they're not going to turn me into a vampire, I don't know what's going to happen. I want to be turned into a vampire. That's the thing, is it's very important. Reason to be a vampire, like why are they a vampire, and how exactly are in their life are they going about being a vampire, and then overall hotness of the. You always have to do this. I have to do this because vampires can be weirdly hot all the time. So get into it. So first, I have Rosalie from Twilight. For me, I really enjoyed Rosalie's backstory in Twilight. It was very interesting how she was turned. So if you don't know how she was turned, she ended up going to get a little graphic, as I have been told that I am graphic in describing things. So she was eventually beaten by her ex-husband around like the 1920s, and on the verge of death, Carlisle, which is their father, basically saves her from the verge of death, and as she is reborn a vampire, she ends up going on a killing spree to to kill the men who killed her and basically tormented her and abused her and beat her. Which, again, power move to you. I love that. But the thing is would she turn me into a vampire? The answer is no, as we can see throughout the Twilight franchise. She's very, reluctant to even have Bella become a vampire, so that's a no on my list. And then overall hotness, I would definitely say 8 out of 10 for me. I really like her, but I think I chose the wrong photo for myself. Alright, let's go to the next one. Alright, this one's kind of my favorite. So, Dracula's Bride. This, from Van Helsing, I've actually never seen the movie, which is very funny to me, because I'm a weird Dracula person. If you can't tell by me doing vampires, I don't know what you're doing here. But the thing is that Dracula's Brides, I'm going to put them in a category of 3s. What I would say about Dracula's Brides is I think that, one, I don't think they would try and turn anyone else. They would just eat you. I mean, they would just maul me to death. There's nothing there. There's no, I want you to be with me forever. It's, your food, and I shall kill you. So, I don't know about that one. And then, kind of characters' personalities for me is very interesting because I haven't seen the movie, but from what I've heard is that they're either very sexual or very aggressive, so I don't know. I don't know about those ones. And then overall hotness, I love them. They are gorgeous. That's the reason I picked them. They are adorable. I love them. Alright. Going on to the next. I gotta slow it down. Then again, I have about 20 to 24 of these, I think. I made this in about 2 hours. It took way longer for what is on the PowerPoint, but I got confused. Very confused. Also, is my mic on? Yes, it is. Thank God. I'm over here like, I cannot remember the last time that I have not had technical difficulties today. Alright. Okay, this is my favorite one. This might actually be my favorite one. So, Lucy from Bram Stoker's Dracula. The only actual media that I have ever consumed of Dracula itself is, well, let me go over this real quick. It's Dracula the actual book. It's Hotel Transylvania and Bela Lugosi's 1931 Dracula, because I am a nerd, if you cannot tell. I'm very much a nerd at this point, but Lucy is one of my favorite characters from the Dracula book because of this one simple fact, of this one quote that will always stick in my mind. I forget who said it in the book, but it's so funny to me. And they're like, "We put 4 strong men's blood in her already. How is she dying?" And I just think it's so funny because, let me explain this. The book was written in about like the 1880s by Abraham Stoker. The thing about this that happens in my mind is when were blood transfusions first actually able to work? Like when was the first realization that maybe putting different people's blood that don't have matching blood types is going to affect them to the point of death? And that's 1901, by the way. So this was written before 1901. And theoretically, I always say they probably all had the same blood type and they were trying to help her as best they could, because from the book's description and everything, she has 2 puncture wounds in the neck from, of course, Dracula, as we know. And the thing is, though, is that if you keep doing blood transfusions, my question was, would the sucking vampire get rid of the effects of what's happening when you put different types of blood into that system? The answer is no, by the way. It does not work. I have not tested this, I swear. But it doesn't work. And it would not reverse the effects, I don't think, of the body. So again, she could be deteriorating from the blood alone and not even Dracula taking it from her, which is, again, something I think is funny, and I love her. And then actually getting back on topic to what we were talking about is Lucy. Like, would she turn me into a vampire? I don't think she has a conscious mind when she is turned. Like, there's nothing there. I don't think she's really conscious. Again, I have not seen this, but I think I'm like, what I've heard is that she's like under some type of control over like Dracula, as well as Mina is in like this type of control. Again, it's a weird thing because it's hard to tell what the movies did, what the books didn't, so it's like, where am I going with this, you know? And then the other thing is, backstory. I really like her backstory, but I read kind of what they did in Dracula as her being more of like a whore kind of thing, and like, oh, she has 3 men, oh goodness. And it's like, no, she felt so bad about rejecting those 2 others. She was like, I feel so bad and I have 3 marriage proposals, what am I gonna do? And she eventually chose Arthur, and that was fine. Like, good for you, you chose Arthur, he's nice enough. And then hotness level, I love her. I absolutely love her in Bram Stoker's Dracula, so I'm gonna give this at least a 15 out of 10 because she is absolutely radiant. I love her so much. Alright, I'm so sorry that I might have bored you with that, but we're gonna continue on. If you've never seen Vampire Knight, I am so grateful that you have not, because this is one of the, not weirdest animes, but definitely on the verge of like weirdest things that I've ever seen. especially when I was like when I was way too young to be watching something like this. So, the premise of Vampire Knight is that they have these two separate classes. There's the night class and the day class. You wonder why it's a night class? Well, vampires, of course. And then in this world, they have vampire hunters. Okay, I'm not gonna go back to that until we get to something else. But the thing is that with Vampire Knight, the night class, it's very obvious that they are vampires because of how, 1, beautiful they are, 2, they don't go out in the daylight. Like, it is not feasible for them to go out in the daylight. And 3, they have a vampire hunter as a headmaster, which is even funnier to me. But this main vampire, Kaname, is like this princely vampire, and his love interest is his sister. So that's fun. Yeah, his sister, I should say. So if you really want to know about that one, his sister, but what I will say about him turning someone, I think he would under the right circumstances. Like, he tried to, so it's said in the show that like his sister didn't know that she was a vampire at all, so he was kind of willing to like, I'll turn you again if I need to. So I would say he would be willing to under the right circumstances, especially his sister, which is just weird. What is it, sir? What do you need? I am bothering you today. Sorry, that's my dog. I love him very much, but sometimes he doesn't love me. I will be right back. I have to get him on my lap now. Oh boy. Come on. Oh god. I don't want to go. Letting you. This is safe space. Not letting you. Okay. There is no bargaining with the dog. I am not doing that. And then on a rank of hotness, I honestly don't like Kaname that much, which is a shocker, because, I mean, yes, he's hot for an anime boy, but not my favorite. But I would give him like a 7 out of 10, I think, and move on. Sorry, my dog is whining again, and I'm 100% sure you can probably hear it, so I'm gonna actually get him this time. I am on mute, sorry. I am back, and the dog is in my lap for God knows how long he's gonna be here. I love him, but he's a pain in my side. At least we're not playing games tonight, because that would have been so much worse. But again, I think I would give Kaname a 7 out of 10. Also, instead of a 7 out of 10, since he has a crush on his sister, we'll probably give it a 2 out of 10 because no for incest. Alright. Oh god. Also, the pictures get worse and worse from here. I am so sorry. So we're gonna do Bella. Hello, sir. Sir, please. Please, no. No, sir, no. Sorry, he's adjusting. And, he wants on my lap. And on my desk and everywhere. Okay, so we're gonna do Bella from Twilight. I might actually be very annoyed at this dog situation right now. I'm so sorry. This is just something out of my control right now. Okay, please lie down, sir. I'm trying to talk to a camera of invisible people. Ugh, I'm like, I'm in a magical school right now, and I have a dog. Keeps whining at me. And then it gets worse from there. And my life seems a bit less fantastical. Okay. We're gonna go to Bella. So again, if you've never seen the Twilight franchise, good for you, because you have not been inflicted by the cringeworthiness of this fucking franchise, but you have also not seen the laughter that it brings, because it is so bad that you just want to, like, crack up at it every time someone is on screen. Okay, I'm gonna take a drink. And there's nothing left, which is fine, and my throat's not gonna hurt after all. Oh god, I'm gonna really die after this one. Okay. I'm gonna get off topic every single chance I get. Okay. Again, back to Bella. This is Bella's moment, not mine. We have to remember that. So, Bella is the main protagonist in Twilight, if you could even call her that. So she ends up having this whole thing with a love triangle, if you may know, to the 2008 horrific disaster of Twilight and the spawns that had made it so far. Closer. Do you not like Twilight that much? Because obviously you're perking your head up and you're kind of like, what the fuck is this? Here. I'm getting his eye boogers. You have to know that I am going to pay more attention to this dog than I am Bella because I love him more. So just the basic rundown is that she's not the best protagonist, and even though she really likes Edward does not want to turn her into a vampire, which we will get to this later. And everything kind of like under the sun. She's a little boring. She's kind of like a wet paper towel. You don't really want to like go near her, touch her. Her personality is just bland. So it's like, why are all these people attracted to you in the first place? We don't know. I don't know. And then we have scale of 1 to 10, where I'm getting confused now. This is my fault, but I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, you were down now. Yes, I see. Don't like to hurt yourself like last time. Oh, go. Again, dog. So sorry. Oh god. I'm also in probably the most uncomfortable sitting position for this. Alright. I'm like, recenter, refocus, we're gonna do great. Oh, I'm just getting hooked up on Bella right now. This is really difficult for me to admit. So, would she turn anyone into a vampire? I think yes. The amount of times that this woman has been like, I want to be a vampire. Edward, turn me into a vampire. Someone turn me into a vampire because I want to be a vampire and live forever. Someone turn me into a vampire. Someone do it now. Do it now. Again, until a very tragic end of her giving birth. Now I have to let him out of the room. I am so sorry. Again. But he is going to whine, and you will hear it, because my god, the amount of times that I have to record with him over me is terrifying. You know what's fun is that I have not checked on my character in a very long time, and I'm 100% sure that I am in some weird-ass position. But we're gonna continue on. And again, hotness for Bella. For being a wet paper towel, I give 5 out of 10, but she is still very attractive. Let's go. Oh god. See, I told you the quality of photos gets worse, but if you can't tell, that is David Bowie. I am sorry. um, so this is from a movie called The Hunger. The Hunger is a very interesting adaptation on vampires, and it's one of my personal favorites, which you probably never heard of because, let's just say it's a really bad movie. Yeah, it's just a bad movie. That's the only reason you haven't heard of it. It's bad. It's not like I'm keeping it or anything. It's just bad. And the reason I found it was because, fun fact about me, I'm obsessive and I consume any media that my favorite people are in. So I have watched almost all of David Bowie's terrible movies, and this is why it's here, because I apparently really liked that terrible movie. And in that movie, David Bowie plays John. John is a vampire from the 1700s who accompanies this woman named Miriam. They end up having a very nice vampire romance, but the thing is that John is deteriorating. He is not a true vampire, but a fledgling. Miriam will not give him the secret to become a full-fledged vampire because she wants to keep him under her thumb for as long as she possibly can, and until she finds someone else. She eventually finds another woman to make her own, leaving John in the dust. He ends up dying. Very painfully. And then she gets hers in the end. If you watch it, it's a little disturbing. So John is just like this really nice vampire, and he's in love with Miriam, and he really wants to become a full-fledged vampire so that he can stay with her, and he's really getting scared of deteriorating and losing her. So I would say, would John turn you into a vampire? 100%. He would turn you into a vampire because of how sweet he is. He would be like, you are the love of my life. I would love to turn you immortal with me. Like, if he was a full-fledged vampire, of course, and knew how to actually do that, I would say yes, he would. And then a scale of hotness, I want to say 10 out of 10, but the amounts of looks that this man has throughout the movie, I cannot tell which one. I'm over here like, which one would actually be the 10 out of 10? I would say him with his blonde hair. His black hair is nice, but I don't know. And his old man phase is terrifying to me and gives me nightmares. Alright, moving on. Let's see who else we have, because I have forgotten who I put in this slide. I had a number generator help me with everything. Laszlo, What We Do in the Shadows, the show. We love Laszlo here, and I have to go get my dog again. I am, again, so sorry about this. Again, apologies for that. My dog is now outside, and if he barks, I have to run and get him. Oh god, I'm gonna have a stressful night tonight. Okay, so, Laszlo, What We Do in the Shadows. What We Do in the Shadows has been one of my favorite shows for quite a while, because it follows this mockumentary about vampires where they're just kind of doing their own thing on Staten Island, and it's pretty funny. I would say myself. So, Laszlo is the other half to a woman named Nadia, and I absolutely love them together. So, his personality is kind of like, he's a little frisky here and there, and then he's also very interesting in different aspects because of just how crazy this man can be. So I personally love him for that because he can be a little Willy Wonka. Why did I say that? I don't know. My brain went to that for some reason. We're gonna pretend I never said that because I'm so brain dead right now. So if you don't know why I'm brain dead, I had to write 7 pages today of a research paper that is due tomorrow. So have fun with that knowledge that you will. And I should probably be going to bed soon, but I'm not doing that. I'm rating Laszlo because he's hot. Would he turn you into a vampire though? I don't think so. Poor Guillermo. I would be Guillermo in all of this. He wears little ugly sweaters, he has glasses. Me and him would match. We would be the best of buds. We would know everything about each other. But we're not talking about Guillermo because he is not a vampire today. But I don't think Laszlo would turn anyone into a vampire except Nadia because he's in love with her. And then hotness scale, 20 out of 10. I love him. He's gorgeous. Mwah. Gorgeous. Oh, bon appetit. Alright, here's a classic vampire, Louis. I'm actually, I'm struggling to remember his last name. I'm like, oh god, what is his last name? Also, this has been probably 2 minutes at my desk right now, but I would like to go check on my dog because guess what? He likes to dig. And I'm very nervous about him getting out late at night and getting hit by a car. So, if you may excuse me, I must go. I must away. And we're back. And in later news, the cat made a mad dash for the door, and I nearly had another panic attack. That scared me so much. The most terrifying thing about my cat, he can jump off walls very easily. He loves doing parkour. And, as soon as I started running towards the door to get my dog, the cat comes out and just parkours off the wall and just heads straight for the door because I left it wide open to grab shoes. It was not good. It was not great. I'm gonna have a heart attack at this point. I was very scared that the cat would get out and then I would be yelled at because it's school's cat. No one wants the school cat to get out. And it sucks. Oh god. And my wrist is hurting. Fun. Okay. We're getting back into this because I'm off topic again. So, Louis, interview with the vampire. So, Louis ends up being a very, I'm gonna use a lot of varies here. Can you tell? Very depressed vampire here. Because, he ends up losing his wife. And I believe in the movie he actually loses like a wife and daughter, and that's why one of the main characters is very important to him. But he ends up losing a wife. I'm pretty sure they just I'm over here like, I'm pretty sure that's just in the movie. It's been a while since I read all 13 books of The Interview with the Vampire, or at least the Vampire Chronicles as they're called. So it's been a minute, but there's a lot of them. So Louis ends up being very depressed and kind of on the verge of killing himself, or so as the movie goes. I'm gonna kind of be referring more to the movie since I do have more of an image of the around 1990s, I forget the exact date, 1990s movie. So he's very depressed, he's in a very lowly state, and Lestat ends up basically turning him into a vampire. Lestat we will get on later, he is the king of drama, we love that for him, but that is not something for me. But for Louis, he becomes very depressed, very kind of within himself, and he wishes to die. Instead of dying, Lestat thinks, this is the perfect man, an opportunity to gift immortality because of how depressed he is. And by that logic, no, Louis becomes even more depressed because he wants to join his dead wife. And so it kind of like spirals into this whole thing of Louis really wishing that he could just die once and for all, but also not having kind of like the guts to actually kill himself still, which is very interesting to me because it's very funny because it's like I can't believe I cannot die as a vampire form, and then just seeing the son you die kind of thing. And it's very intriguing. Again, I haven't read the book in forever. But I'm like, I can't say that actually. I'm like, I'm struggling for the words to be like, did he end up killing himself? Because he really doesn't show up in the rest of Vampire Chronicles. But I don't think that's it. He doesn't kill him. It's just, he's kind of written off as a character. Because again, who really wants to read about a depressed person that much? And then, so personality-wise, Louis is a very caring person, but he's also very, very depressed. Very sad and very solemn. And when he is doing his interview, as in Interview with the Vampire, he talks about how much he longs to be gone and forgotten, and it's so very hard for him to continue walking on Earth and continuing on like that. Also, I am being interrupted once again by my little dog. I will be right back. I think these dog breaks are gonna make me even longer on this stream than I probably want to be because, again, I want to go to bed. I had a very long day today, and that's fine, but my goodness, I am tired. Alright. So again, Louis is very sweet, very passionate, but again, very sad and very lonely in himself and just feels empty. And then, going on to that, would he turn you into a vampire? No, I don't think Louis would actually turn you into a vampire. And I actually kind of want to add a secret category. Would he be a really good date? Because honestly, I'm saying that, hey, I want to rank vampire dates, and then I'm realizing I'm not really ranking them as dates. I'm more so ranking them as vampires and who would actually turn me. I should really be ranking them more as, would they be a good romantic partner or not? I would say no, because Louis, again, would be just very depressed, very hard to hang around, and as we see within the movie and the book, Lestat gets kind of fed up with that bullshit and leaves. Well, technically, Louis does it first. Spoiler alert, Louis and Lestat's daughter end up hacking Lestat up into bits and throwing him in the bayou. So that's fun. I love that part, though. It's kind of fun to me. And then hotness level, I would say 10 out of 10. This is Brad Pitt here, I do like him, but the long hair is throwing me for a ride because my goodness, it is really hard to imagine Brad Pitt with that long of hair. Alright, let's go for the next one. Okay, here's Miriam now from The Hunger. As I've kind of described, The Hunger is a really weird movie that I watched in a David Bowie binge watch of all his movies. But I ended up really liking it for no inherent reason other than it was 1, creepy, 2, it had good music, and 3, it also had Susan Sarandon, so how could you not like it at that point, in my opinion? So Miriam is the main vampire who actually does turn John, who is David Bowie's character. She ends up turning John, though keeping him as a fledgling, and as John grows old with her, his immortality begins to dwindle, and he begins an aging process faster than you could even ever think. So, Miriam, being that she does not help him at all. She kind of leaves him to die. She's like, I don't know how to make you immortal exactly, and I will leave you as it is because I do not want to watch you suffer anymore. And she ends up finding someone else to make her lover, I guess. Yeah, because she's had so many, and she keeps all the bodies in her attic. It's very disturbing. So she ends up having all of this. And for me, Miriam is a very self-absorbed vampire. She doesn't really care about the people who she actually does turn, but she will turn you if she likes you. But I don't think that's actually a good thing, because she's gonna keep you around until she's bored. So that's not something I would like in someone who I would date. So I would say, no, I wouldn't date her. No. And how hot? I would say 1 out of 10. I don't really like Miriam that much. She was just kind of a bitch, in my opinion. I didn't really like her. She wasn't my favorite. Alright, next. Okay, this is gonna be a fun one for me to do. Adam, last lovers left alive. Damn it, I forgot we're not going to mention that to you yet. So, Adam, again, well, actually not again. I haven't even explained this to you guys yet. So, Adam and Eve, it's from the very beginning. In the movie, Adam and Eve are vampires who had immortality from the very beginning, and they end up going on this wild journey, kind of like going into this present spot for them. Adam ends up being kind of a burnt out musician, while Eve is more of a research type of person and book person, and they live very far away. Again, I have not seen this movie in a while, but I do like Tom Hiddleston, if you cannot tell. But for this, Adam is more of like a sweet, caring man, and he just wants to be with Eve once again, and they kind of go through this journey as being themselves, being vampires, and kind of dealing with reality for them as vampires. And it's really cool to watch, and I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely say that Adam as someone I would really, really like. I would really, really like him, except the only thing is that he really is just a burnt out musician, so it's like, would I really want to do that? No. No, that sounds very annoying. I think it's annoying to me because I've had so many people in my life, kind of like, I don't know why I don't like this so much. I don't like it when people randomly break out in song. I think I would be especially scared if a flash mob broke out and I would be in the center of it not knowing anything to do. So I would be very, very scared in that situation. So I think that's the only thing is I'm like, I know he would be practicing his music constantly, and I get it. I had to do that once too, but not again. Please not again. Never again for me. And then the other thing, would he turn you into a vampire? I don't think he would actually turn anyone into a vampire. I think he's kind of cool being him and Eve, and then I'm forgetting so many people here, but it's okay, because if you haven't seen the movie, it doesn't really matter. But he kind of does his own thing, and so I don't think he would actually turn anyone into a vampire. And then hotness level, I would say 30 out of 10 because I absolutely love him. The only thing, ooh, excuse me. Sorry, that just kind of built up somehow. The only thing I would dox him on is the wig. It's a little disturbing to me, but then again, it's kind of the style of the movie. It's very, like, the wigs are very shaggy, very, like, unkempt, like, just stuff like that. It's fine, though. We're gonna still keep it at a 30 out of 10. We like him. We like him enough for that. Alright, next we have Alice. So, Alice, I don't really know her backstory too much, but Alice is again in the Twilight franchise. I have all of the Cullens in here because it is a thing for me. Alice is a very sweet and kind girl as she goes through this kind of like journey of realizing trying to be like a vegetarian, trying to like get off of human blood, though her boyfriend, I'm gonna talk about him later, like is like the last one to really wean off human blood. So she's just kind of in like this crazy life. She ends up meeting Bella, who becomes one of her best friends, like she's very close with her, and she ends up trying to hook up her and her brother a little bit more. Hook up Bella and her brother a little bit more. She's not trying to hook up with her. Okay, that's a lie. That's such a lie. She does hook up with a quote-unquote brother, because they're all technically dating their siblings. If you look at it that way. Which a lot of them do. Because they excuse it by saying, oh, they're not actually related. They're in foster care together. It's still weird. Don't date at school, guys. Why are you dating at school? That's just weird, guys. It was a little weird for me to watch that. So yeah, I would say that. And then I would say taking out on a date. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna say this. I think Alice would take you on the most magical date of your life. Like, she would make sure that it would be pretty. Like, if you guys weren't going, I feel like Alice would like going out, but she also likes staying in. So Alice would, if Alice was staying in, she'd do like little fairy lights, do a little picnic. You'd be watching like maybe a show or something. You'd be hanging out. You would having like a little time of your life because she's just like, it's the magic pixie dream girl for her, and I love that type. Then again, the exact opposite also goes true for me, and it's the damn dark mysterious type that I really like, and the I think I can change him for the better. No, you cannot, sweetheart. He is going to kill you or wreck you. Either way, you should stay away from him. And then I would say, would she turn anyone? I would say no, because, and again, in the movie, she doesn't turn Bella. She doesn't really want to in the general. And then again, hotness level, I would say, oh god, I would say 20 out of 10 for Alice because we just absolutely love her. Or I could say, I'm just trying to scratch my brain for things to say right now because I am on the verge of a brain death. So, you know what? Instead of saying anything, I'm just gonna continue on because, again, that is where I'm at in my life. Oh god, not another Vampire Night. Why am I forgetting what I put in this? I made this 2 hours ago. How the fuck am I forgetting everything? Alright, so, you really want to hear about Zero? You really want to hear about it? I want to hear about him. Why does this girl in Vampire Night fall for both of her brothers? It's just weird. It's really weird. I don't know why I was watching this when I was younger. It was just weird. I'm gonna say that over and over again, and I'm so sorry. But Zero is a main protagonist, again, in Vampire Night, along with Yuki Kaname. Not Kaname, but like Yuki Karan, I think. Yeah, I was gonna be just like, yeah, that's her last name, Kaname, too. But no, Zero and Yuki, Yuki is the main character, who is Kaname's sister as well, and there is a weird love triangle with that, and Zero ends up being her adoptive brother. Even though not blood related, she does fall for both of her brothers, and it's a little odd, don't you think? And the other thing is, I think Zero would be really bad at dates. He's really bad at human interaction. He was the thing with Zero's backstory, it's really weird and really tragic for almost no reason. He ended up being like a set of twins, and a vampire ended up killing both of his parents and turning him into a vampire himself. So it gets even weirder from there. But since he's a vampire himself, it's very interesting kind of seeing this. As it goes through the story, you kind of see more and more coming out of, like, him being a vampire, and the more he struggles with it. Again, his parents were killed by a vampire. How could he be okay with it? As well as they were vampire hunters themselves, so he wanted to continue that lineage, and he himself is a vampire hunter while also being a vampire. Which is, again, ironic. Ironic for this. Again, his personality is a little bit, he's kind of off. Like, he doesn't trust too many people, and he doesn't really want to get close to anyone. So I would say he would not be the best, like, romantic partner ever. But he is really good for Yuki in that sense, because he does fall in love with her eventually, and she has a very hard time picking between her brother and her other brother. Which is so weird to say. At least Twilight never had, oh, they're her brothers. At least we didn't have that. Oh god, if we had that, that would have been worse. No, it's still bad. It's still pretty bad. Alright, continuing on, what would I rate him? Honestly, again, he's pretty hot, but I would say like a 6 out of 10. He's not my favorite character, so a 6 out of 10 is pretty right, but I do have a friend who really likes him, so maybe I'll give him an 8 out of 10 for her. Let's chose the worst photo for Jasper possible for a reason. I wanted to. That's the only reason. An interesting one. He ends up being a Confederate soldier in the past, and there is really no apology for that in the books, and he still seems very proud of it for some reason. So, automatically, it's a 0 out of 0 for me, because my god, that's crazy. And 2, I kind of wish that he was just a sweet little southern boy who was forced into being a vampire. Like, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that for one character, just making him sweet. Like, just one thing. You had to make him a Confederate soldier? And then also not being apologetic towards anything that he's ever fucking done in his life. Fun. I'm very annoyed at Jasper for some reason. And it's more so Stephenie Meyer's writing of him. That's the only reason. Then again, him in the movies is very hot, and again, I wish he was just a sweet southern boy who I could love on, and because it's adorable, you know, it's fun. And then, going into, would he be a good date? I think he would actually be, because as if you've seen the Twilight franchise, him and Alice have a very loving relationship, and he gets very much along with her, and he's very much in love. It's kind of like he got out of a very abusive relationship after he got out of the army, I think, and he eventually found the Cullen family that adopted him into their own, so they were like, yeah, why not? Why not? Why don't we accept this kid? I forget when they found him, though, because it was much later, because Carlisle himself didn't get turned until, I think, the 1900s. So, I think, yeah. Like, yeah, the Confederacy was around the 1800s. My knowledge in American history is terrible, which is really ironic for me. And I think it's funny. I'm like, you want to know what history I know the most about? Is England history. UK history. There we go. I was like, I can't say it. I can't say UK, can I? I don't know. I'm blabbering. I hope you like that. I don't know if you do. If you don't, that's fine, because, I don't know. I'm just over here like, I'm tired. But I also wanted to do this tonight, so it's fun. This is actually really relaxing for me, so I like it. And then, number, again, I kind of already ranked hotness. It's like, it's a 0 out of 0 for the Confederacy, but if I was just rating the actor, oh my god. Adorable, 10 out of 10, we love him. Alright, continuing on. Yes, Edward. I eventually had to put someone back to back in the Cullen family because I had so goddamn many of them. There's 6 of them, including Bella. There's 7, so yeah, there's a lot of them in here, and I fucking hate it for some reason. I added them because I was having a hard time figuring out what vampires could I do, and then I realized that I could have done so much more than the Cullen family. I could have just had like Edward or something, and it would have been fine. So for me, Edward is not my favorite. No. He is a creepy 100-year-old man, like creeping on a 17-year-old. It's odd, it's terrifying, and I don't like it. Something that I always found interesting is that a lot of media portrays older men creeping on younger girls, and it's just creepy because for a very long time I had a really weird fantasy of, oh, I don't know, a magical man sneaking through my window. And then when you think about it, it's really, really disturbing. Imagine someone coming through your window and being like, I'm gonna be your knight in shining armor, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's so romantic, that's so cool. And it's someone you don't even know who's like, I've been watching you for so long. You know what, that just reminds me, I should probably close my window because that's creeping me out a little too much. But I'm not gonna do it because it's too hot in my room now. So again, it's like, just media-wise, it's really creepy that we have this kind of instance of, ah yes, creepy old man sneaks into young girl's room. That's very hot. That's very spicy. We like it. Some examples other than Edward Cullen, for me particularly, is The Labyrinth. Yes, again, another David Bowie movie. I am sorry. Another one, Phantom of the Opera. I absolutely loved Eric with wholeheartedness, and my goodness, when a man did not emerge from a freaking mirror for me, I was pissed. But now looking at it, I am very thankful that never happened because I would be scared witless. I think I would have hit him over the head with a shovel. But yes. It's just different things in different media that have been portrayed, and then it makes younger girls wish that something like that would happen, and then in reality, it's really creepy and really disturbing and something you don't actually want to happen to you. Alright, for dating wise, I would say he's fine. I would say he would be nice to date. Because he seems very loving to Bella, but again, he'd be very weird. Like, he's the weird kid that you do not want to sit next to in math class. It's just, he's not listening to you. You got your headphones in, he's talking to you for no fucking reason. You have no idea what's happening. So it's like, what is this life? What is going on with you? So I would say he'd be creepy, but he'd also be weirdly romantic with things. But again, in a creepy light. It would be like, I got you your favorite flowers, and then, it's because I stalked you the entire way there. Or like something weird, like it would be like, he'd be watching you constantly. Like a dingo watches a baby. I'm gonna say that in a bad accent, and that's fine. Disturbing as a dingo really ate her baby. Okay, we're gonna move on from that random fact that I have stored in my brain today. Back into Edward. What would be his hotness scale? Again, a 4 out of 10 for me. I like Robert Pattinson, but I do not like him as Edward. That is the only thing. I think he looks really creepy and very stiff and very bored-like, and it's just not for me in this one. Not my favorite thing. Alright, continuing on. Vigo. What We Do in the Shadows movie. I chose a very odd photo for this one, but I like it. Cause, I don't know, it's cute. It's cute. It's a little funny. It's a little silly. It's a little goofy. It has blood splattered all over him. I love it. Again, something I have not watched actually is the movie. I have not been able to do What We Do in the Shadows movie. So I've only included one character because of the clips that I have watched and the things that I like about it. And honestly, his character seems very derpy and very fun-loving, and I just absolutely love that about him. And again, the actor who plays him, I love him absolutely to death because of, again, how like fun-loving he is, how good at getting in character he is, and just how hilarious, again, how hilarious this man is. So what I would say is that he would honestly be very thoughtful, very caring, and he would love taking you out on little dates, and he would love like giving you little gifts here and there and just making sure that you feel loved, and I would love that for you. Love that. Love that for me, honestly. And then the other thing is 10 out of, like, what would he be? Would he be a 10 out of 10? No, he'd be 100 out of 10 because this man is absolutely adorable and absolutely wants to spoil someone. Alright. I just want to get this over with now. I made this too long. I thought I made it too short. I made it too long, really. Alright. Now we're on to Eve, Only Lovers Left Alive. Again, Eve is back to Adam. Again, religious stuff, because why do I always have to make this about religion sometimes? I don't know, and I hate it. But Eve is the other half of Adam, and of course, as the... I'm not gonna get into that even. But Eve ends up being more of kind of like a standoffish character. She's more of a aloof, I would say. I honestly completely forget what the fuck she did in the movie, but I did really like her character presence because she just seemed so calm and like so chill, and it was just very relaxing for me to watch her. And so I really like that, and I think she's very sweet and kind to Adam, but if you mess with him, she would fucking kill you. So yeah, I don't know about that one. But yes, very nice to the one that she actually loves. She would not like me or you, though. She would kill us, I think. And if she would turn us into a vampire, hell no. No, no, no. She would not. She would be like, I'm done with you all. I'm like, I honestly think that Eve was the probably... Actually, that's a dumb question. Eve probably did turn Adam into a vampire first, so she's like, I'm kind of done doing that. Doing that today. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say, I would say 100 rubber ducks. I like that number. I'll give her 100 rubber ducks, because I like that. Oh god, the moody bitch is here. Finally. Again, I forget what order I put all of them in, and Lestat, I love him, but again, the moody bitch of drama is here, and we love that for him. Alright, Lestat, interview with a vampire. Did you know? I'm gonna sneak in the fact that I know facty facts, because I like talking about facts. Did you know that Lestat has a second book? I'm like, did you know? He was actually an 80s rock star in the second book, and I love that for him. I can't remember if it's second or third. But again, it was funny to me, because again, 80s rock star would be awesome, and I could definitely see that for our moody king. Alright, let's talk about Lestat a little bit. So, Lestat's backstory is a little bit of a mystery for me. Again, after reading all 13 books, they all kind of blur together, and you don't really remember characters very well. Also, my memory is kind of shitty, if you cannot tell already. But for me, Lestat is kind of an ass. He leaves a vampire named Armand, and he kind of steals everything, like every little piece of knowledge that Armand has kind of like collected for himself in becoming a vampire and turning other vampires because the thing is that in Interview with the Vampire, it's very sacred to turn someone else into a vampire, so it's like you gotta be very specific about it, like turning someone else into a vampire. Again, every vampire book and every vampire movie has different things on turning a vampire into a vampire, because why not? I mean, one of my favorite things in Last Lovers Left Alive is that they had blood popsicles. That is creative there. Alright. So with Lestat, he's again more a little brooding, more a little moody, and again, he's kind of fed up with Louis's attitude of being depressed all the time and just complaining and being annoying. For me, I would say Lestat would be a very interesting lover. Then again, he would probably suck you dry and not really want to turn you, because I honestly think that he is more gay in any aspect because he had a longtime partner, Louis, for so long. So I think he would be more gay in that aspect, and I respect that of him because I love him for that. And then I would say for him, kind of being more of a, I would say turning someone into a vampire, again, I would say no, because again, it's under certain, if I can speak right, it's under certain circumstances that he was actually able to turn Louis into a vampire. Then again, nearing the end, he did kind of end up feeding on this one guy that he started feeding on. So it depends. Really want to see being a vampire and who he would really want to do. And then hotness scale, I would say 10 out of 10. Then again, I am very surprised that Tom Cruise plays him. So it's a little funny thing for me to be like, oh yeah, Tom Cruise plays him. Alright, we're gonna move on with this. Ah yes, Daddy Carlisle. I am so sorry for you having to hear that. But for many people in the Twilight fandom, he is known as Daddy Carlisle. Or we have Daddy Charlie, who is not a vampire and did not make this list, sadly, because I like Charlie a lot better than Carlisle. I mean, look how creepy he is. Can you see how creepy this man looks? I never realized how creepy this man looks until I started looking at more pictures of him. So I don't know. He looked hot in the movies. This is terrifying me up close. I am staring at him and he is giving me this death stare. So Carlisle again is kind of like the head of the family in Twilight, and he ends up turning everyone into different vampires and kind of like collecting these wayward children as foster kids and keeping them in high school for the rest of their lives, it feels like. Which again, I am very confused why they didn't just turn them in, like, why didn't they go to college? Like, college is so much easier instead of high school. High school, they get suspicious a lot easier, and kids are mean in high school. In college, they don't give a shit how old you are or how young you look. They're just like, I gotta get to my lecture on time or else I'm dead. High school kids are mean. Like, they would know that the Cullens were different immediately. So there's no way they're hiding that fact. So I'm just surprised that they didn't, they a lot better for them. I'm hoping this is working right because my mic keeps disconnecting, and I'm gonna share every little fact and detail with you about it. Again, going on Carlisle, he is a very sweet person. I keep saying this about a lot of them because a lot of them do have a very sweet and loving personality. For Carlisle, it's very caring. Again, he's a dog. Why do I always say again? I don't know. I'm gonna get too deep into this and then not like it that much. But for me, Carlisle is more of so a doctor and everything. And so again, a lot more tenderness, a lot more caring, and he just is very patient with people, and I really like that about him. And I think that's what would make him such a good date, is because he would be very patient and very kind, and he'd always want to see what you were doing first, and always making sure that you are the one having the most fun during a date. Like, just say you're going out to a restaurant with him, and he would want to make sure that you are having the best time that you can possibly have. Say if you have anxiety or something like that, as I do, he would make sure that I would say that he would make sure that the environment is very controlled and very okay for you to not have that much anxiety or pressure or other things that you may struggle with yourself. For a vampire ranking, what do you turn you into vampire? Depends on the situation again, because all of his children were at a near-death experience in their life, so he ended up saving them in certain situations and who he thought would be good vampires. What's so interesting to me is that not a lot of people, I guess, have had near-death experiences with him as much, because again, I'm guessing how long he's been practicing being a doctor is very interesting, and also he's probably picked up so many and things to prevent people from dying. Then again, it might actually be a house rule to Carlisle, you cannot keep turning these children into vampires because maybe they just want to die. Let them die. So I'm 100% bring home any strays again. So that's probably why he can't turn you into a vampire right away. And then hotness level, I would say 5 out of 10 because again, I thought he was hotter in the movies. Now that I'm seeing him up close in a photo, I am terrified for my life. Please send help. Next person. I forgot I added this one. I'm a JoJo's fan. I hope you are too, or else this is going to be weird. But yeah, Dio Brando, which is funny to me. I'm gonna explain this to you real quick because I absolutely love how weird JoJo is and how bizarre it can be. So Dio is actually a band, and Brando is named after Marlon Brando, which is again, not my favorite actor, but I do like Marlon Brando. He is a great actor. So Dio Brando was born, and I think that's really funny because it's just a weird fact that I know. That's the reason why I find it funny. It's something weird that I know, and I don't know how many people know that. I'm sure a lot of people know that. I just listen to Dio a lot, and then I also watch a lot of weird old movies with Marlon Brando in them. You've ever seen Streetcar? I cannot think tonight, so I am again. I sincerely apologize to anyone who happens to be watching this tonight, and again, sincerest apologies to me and myself and I guess. But I'm losing my train of thoughts. I'm just kind of like out of it right now. But that's okay. You kind of get out of it sometimes. So, continuing on with Dio, the thing is that I was going to add bullet points, and I didn't, so my mind is everywhere. And that is why I'm not very, what is the word? Organized. There we go. Haha, I'm not very organized tonight, so I will be next time, hopefully, because I'm scared. But going back to the actual topic, Dio. So, Dio is born into this family of basically poverty, and his dad ends up stealing. His dad's he steals a lot, and he's actually named after his father, I believe, or it's something weird. Again, people usually don't rewatch the first season of JoJo. I've watched it too many times to count, but I cannot recall the man's name at all because, my goodness, do I really care? No. I just want to watch Jonathan. That's what I care about. This is not my favorite. We're gonna turn off this ad, hopefully, because I thought it wasn't gonna go through. I am so sorry again. Today we're gonna just be embarrassed for like an entire hour, I guess. Again, I don't know what's happening. If you know what's happening, let me know, because I have no idea. Okay, I'm just gonna readjust again. I'm recentering right now because I have to get my mind blank, because it's late at night right now and my mind is racing every little nook and cranny it can to escape, and I am not letting it escape tonight. So again, Dio is born into poverty, and he's more so likely to kind of be a ruffian and thug, and he ends up claiming a title to the Joestars and forging, or his father at least, makes a letter to send to the Joestars, which is the JoJo's family, to go and live with them and basically be taken in as a second son. Of course, Mr. Joestar takes him in because he is such a kind of heart, and Jonathan is too, until Dio kills Danny, the dog. Yes, and that is how you know someone is a bad human being in JoJo, is if they kill a dog. And yes, it does make him a very bad person. Honestly, I really like the fact that he puts in killing a dog instead of a human, because people can relate to animal deaths a lot more than humans, which is really disturbing if you think about it. Oh. And then dating wise for Dio, I would say no. I would say no. He wouldn't want to date you. He'd kill you. Unless you were pregnant with one of his kids. He'd let you live if you were pregnant. Then again, the argument can be made for Giorno is if Dio knew what was happening. This is one of my favorite things about this, is that if Dio knew what was happening to his son, he would take care of him and take him in, but he would probably kill the mother. So I'm 100% sure that no, he wouldn't care about another woman except about his son, or another man such as Jonathan, who is his head is attached to Jonathan's body. Again, I think it's a little fruity and I kind of like it and it's kind of fun. But if you don't know about JoJo, it's really disturbing and really weird, but I like it. So, the thing about JoJo is that in the season 1 final, JoJo, Jonathan Joestar, I should say, is on the verge of death, and he thinks that he's taking Dio down with him, who is this vampire who is immortal, and he does try to kill JoJo in the end, but JoJo thinks that he is taking him down as this steamboat kind of ship, like, sinks. But what ends up happening is that Dio is able to take off Jonathan's head and reclaim his body as Dio's body instead, and then make it so that it happens. And that is why Giorno is actually a Joestar, which is really disturbing and really weird, but I like it. And then hotness 10 in everything that he does, and I'm 100% sure that my mic keeps cutting out, so that's fun. But I think Dio is a 10 out of 10, and he's very hot because, again, it's Dio Brando. How could you not like Dio Brando? You could possibly not like Dio Brando, and that's perfectly fine to you. Esme, we're gonna make this quick because her character is very bland, just like Bella. So Esme doesn't really have any backstory to me that I know of, and what I've actually looked into, because I have not read the books, I've only watched the movies, and she's kind of just in the background for most of it. She's kind of like, oh, she's just Carlisle's wife at this point. I think she would be, again, caring, sweet, and kind, and would take care of you if you did want to go on a date with her. She'd be very sweet. But the thing is that she'd be, like, motherly sweet, so it wouldn't be, like, an actual date. She'd just be looking after you like a mother. So it'd be interesting. And then, for me, I would say, I'd give her a 2 out of 10. She's not, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna say 7 out of 10. The mole for me brings it up because it just looks really cute. I just really like that for some reason. And her eyes are very soft and pretty, so I like that. And her hair's a lot lighter in this one, and I kind of like it. And I feel like it frames her face a lot better. But that's my opinion. I don't know. Alright. Next. Oh, my beautiful Nadia, my queen of darkness, my soul, my love of my life. We love Nadia in this household, because the thing for me is that she reminds me a lot of Lucy, and that's why I chose this photo for this specifically, is because she reminds me so much of Lucy. I just really like it. So Nadia is from What We Do in the Shadows. Her character is, again, two Laszlos, they're partners, but she's very, very eccentric and very fun-loving, so I absolutely love seeing all of the shenanigans that they kind of get into more and more as it kind of happens throughout the show. Again, I think Nadia would be kind of like, she'd be very dominant with you. I will just bring it out. Yeah, very dominant, very, very controlling. She's very much like in control, in charge, and you can see that with her relationship with Laszlo, but you can also see it in the relationship with this other man. I'm trying to think of his name, but I don't remember him. But she had this relationship, and he's like in reincarnation. Like he reincarnates every so often kind of thing for her. And they end up having like this on and off relationship, and Laszlo ends up killing him over and over again. So that's fun in a very gruesome beheading type of way because of how much he loves Nadia. So if you want to date Nadia, I do not suggest it because Laszlo will kill you. So not worth it, but definitely I think she is gorgeous and I would love to date her at some point. Hotness level, oh god, 200 out of 10. If I could give her more, I would, because oh my god, I love her. She is just adorable, and I would absolutely love to date her. Alright, onward, and to the next one. Oh god. We're almost done with this, so this is me getting ecstatic. I'm like, huh, I'm seeing the end. Finally, I'm free. That's my impression of me being free, but I'm really not gonna be free after this. I'm gonna be tortured for the rest of my life, knowing that this is on the internet, and knowing that people aren't gonna really watch it, and that's fine, because, my god, I wouldn't even watch it. Oh, it's hard to admit that. I'm like, I don't even think I would watch this. It's a train wreck at this point. It's like me watching myself going into, like, the light, and it's like, don't do it! Don't do it! Oh god, he did it. He's dead. Larry's dead. The moth drawn to a flame and you die. You die in the fire. That's the metaphor I was going for. I don't know, but Larry's dead anyway. Alright, Emmett. You would kind of think he's a frat bro, right? He's not really. He's actually surprisingly sweet. I believe he died somewhere in like the 1900s. Again, a lot of them died around the 1900s. And from what I've heard is that Emmett kind of was like a farm boy life, and he ended up falling in love with Rosalie at kind of like first sight. Not again, but Rosalie's kind of bossy and dominant, so he definitely likes that a lot more in a woman. So I don't know about you, or if you would like men, which would be interesting to see. But I think he would treat you right, and he'd be very sweet and very kind to you. But I also think that he'd be kind of rough. Yeah, he'd be kind of fun to like mess around with. He'd just be like, I want to mess around with you, so we're gonna wrestle, or we're gonna do this. He would probably do stuff like that with you, because again, he probably grew up with more brothers than anything on a farm, and kind of had fun roughhousing with people. And again, with Rosalie, she could take that man down. My god, she could take him down. Hotness scale though, for me, it's a 4 out of 10. I like him. But if you watch him in the movies, the way that they layer his clothes is just a little awkward for me. I think this is the last one, and I have saved the best for last. To me, this is the best for last for me. I don't know about you, but I like him. And it's Dracula's Dracula, Bela Lugosi, the man, the myth, the legend himself. So, Bela Lugosi is the one who started the Dracula trend, like the absolute love of Dracula. I mean, the book has been beloved for so long, but in 1931, when Bela Lugosi actually stepped on stage as Dracula, I feel like something really did change the meaning of Dracula at that point, and so he has become such a beloved character. Honestly, I kind of wish I added Carmilla in this, but that's fine. We're gonna talk about Bella because I absolutely love him. So, if you don't know, I am absolutely obsessed with films from the 1900s to the 1960s that are mostly in black and white because they're just really cool to me, and I really like watching different film techniques because it's interesting seeing different things that they had to do to make this look better in different lighting, because again, if it is black and white, you're gonna have to have very bright colors, and thinking about how bright that cape is makes me cackle. So again, very bright things that you have to make to actually pop in black and white. And so it's interesting to think of different variations and different methods of how they actually got lighting to work, but also having to get props to work, how to get different things to kind of be in unison. The other thing that I'm a little annoyed about is that Vincent Price, if you don't know who that is, he is a very famous horror actor from the range of about like the 1940s, I believe, to 1980s. He died in, I believe, No, I think he died in 1993, a year after Edward Scissorhands came out, because he was actually the scientist in Edward Scissors. I'm so sorry, Edward Scissorhands. Just Edward. God damn it, Edward. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing to me? So, going back to actual Bela Lugosi, I think it's very interesting just kind of seeing the character and how much of a reputation he makes for Dracula himself. Of course, we know the genuine accent of Dracula, the blah 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 blah, as Hotel Transylvania Dracula would say, or Adam Sandler would say. I do not say blah 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 blah. But Bela Lugosi kind of made it his whole thing of doing more of a accent, because again, I'm like thinking, my brain again gone. Dracula is from Transylvania, and again, he is very much obsessed with this ideal of England, which is very interesting to me, and he is looking for more victims to hunt. Then again, I think this man is just overly fascinated with England, and I understand, because I have that same fascination. I do not know what it is, but I am drawn to that land like no other. I'm like, I must go there. I must travel across this sea and find it. It's the magical, mythical. It's a whole thing for me. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta see it. I have to go see the world. Sorry, I'm getting into it a little too much. But for me, Bela Lugosi's Dracula is very interesting and very kind of brings like a new light to the character, and again, is the original Dracula we all know and love, or at least the version that we've always heard about. Again, I think for Dracula, for Bela Lugosi, I think he would actually be a very, like, passionate kind of person. He'd be a very nice date. He'd want to take you somewhere fancy. He would want to, like, he'd want to make sure that you have, like, the best dining experience possible, while also climbing the building like a reptile. That's probably one of my favorite descriptions they have in the book is, Dracula climbing walls like a lizard, and I'm like, damn, that puts it into a whole new perspective. He's not just climbing, he's like up there like a gecko, like side to side, going up and down. That imagery is just my favorite. But again, I think he'd be very passionate and very loving and very like adorning. I mean, if you haven't seen with his 3 wives. But again, I think it would just be very interesting, more of that in like a light of Dracula, and kind of being, honestly, I would kind of want to see a Dracula rom-com, because I think that would be very cute, very sweet. And then for hotness level for Bela Lugosi, I will say a 10 out of 10, because I don't know what it is, I just really like his Dracula, and I like the look, and it's very classic, it's very like sleek, it's very nice for me. If you don't like it, I get it. Again, men in the 1930s probably might not be your style or things like that. For me, it is. Oh my god, it so much is. One of my favorite actors, Louis Hayward, from that era, is absolutely adorable to me for no apparent reason. But like, I like the style they did in the 1930s, so it's just something different. Alright, and that kind of wraps it up. And I'm like, I'm just gonna do this because it's cute, and it's what happens at every old movie that you've probably ever seen, or at least every silent film that you might have seen. But I think this has kind of been my night for myself, because honestly, I really enjoy vampires, I really enjoy reading. Then again, I would have liked to plan this out a little bit more, and I am sorry that I didn't plan it out more, because it would have been a lot better. I think I just stressed myself out a little bit today, and also I was just a little tired, so hopefully next time, I promise that it will be a little bit better, and I'm always trying to improve. Just let me know what I can do, and just let me know what you think. And if you think I did terrible, if you comment, please let me know. I would love to hear it because I would honestly love some pointers or anything that could probably make this a little bit better than I actually have it going right now. All right. So again, this is where I'm kind of like gonna end it. And I hope you guys have a good night. Well, I do hope you guys have a good night. All right. Goodbye.